it was a pretty smooth process to implement it. And then it's nice too because we can make little changes to it and customize things because not every bookkeeping business is going to be the same. So we like that part about it as well. So our Pure and our Pixie definitely does not look like another bookkeeping firms, but that's the good thing about it.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. I'm your host, Michael Palmer. In the finale of our two-part series with Sammy Mattingly and Fred Ott, they get even more practical as they share how they're building systems, hiring their first employee, and creating the foundation needed to scale their firm quickly and sustainably. To learn more, let's rejoin the conversation. Your partners, and there's some stat somewhere, we could look it up. Partnerships often are difficult, and starting a business is difficult. Starting a business with a partnership is even more difficult. Your friends from high school, how does that dynamic work today? It's short, of course, but in the time that you've been working together, trials, tribulations, how do you work together? And keep it sane? And do you feel friction? Do you get into arguments? How's that all look?
There's always going to be friction in a business, but I think we've both said multiple times over the course of the last year, like Fred is the only one of my friends that I could do this with, and I think he would say the same. And I think it mostly comes down to that accountability piece he was talking about earlier, and just the amount of work that each of us is going to put into this. Like, I have no worries that he's going to show up tomorrow and put in a shift for what has to be done, right? And then I personally don't know if I could have made the jump without him. So it's been nice doing, because it's something new. Like, it's scary to do something new by yourself. So just having a partner has been very helpful, and making the jump from a W-2 job to being self-employed, or going to that first networking event, whatever the example is, it is a little bit easier with a second person.
That sounds like it. I can tell the dynamic between the two of you is very, very valuable. The demeanor, the way you seem probably works really well together, and you're absolutely right. I mean, partnerships, whilst they're hard, you can accomplish so much more than on your own, right? It's a fact, right? Building a family, building a business. That the challenge, and what you've both been blessed, is you found each other that you can work well together. You both have the same desire, perhaps. You bring different skills and skill sets to the table. So I think that's great. And I think there's another piece to that as well, is that, I think of the Slack sisters, well, not Slack sisters, but Teresa Slack and Connie Smith. They built $1 million firm. And one of the key things was their partnership, right? They were sisters, but they worked together. They held each other accountability. And there's a great episode where Teresa walks from start to selling, exiting her $1 million business. In a couple episodes, so go ask the show, and you can learn all about it. A little plug. But one of the things she said was, and over the years, every single Friday they worked on the business, and so it was like they blocked that time, and they said, we're going to work on the business, we're going to do the things, we're going to hold each other accountability, and they just continued to move the ball, and that was super powerful. So I think you two are on track to be the next $1 million bookkeepers. Building the $1 million business. I'm going to call that right now. I'm sure other people have said the same thing to you, but you two have, I think, what it takes, and going to be great, inspiring guides to our listener and so far it's really, really great. So I think that dynamic is great, and I love hearing the stories. They're great. Now, let's maybe just talk where you're at now. It's relatively new into the business, but what are you focused on now? What are you trying to accomplish? Or, maybe you have some challenges that you're trying to overcome. What's it looking like now?
Yeah, so for us, I'd say the last couple months have really been um, almost trying to play catch up in a sense, because we were doing all this networking for 3 to 4 months, like Sammy was saying, and it was most of our time. And then eventually that compounded into generating referrals, and then generating revenue, and getting the leads. And so, I'd say throughout the month of March of this year, I mean, we really picked up. We really started getting a lot of work. And it's like Sammy said, it takes a lot of time. It's really not like a one-to-one, like, okay, this new business was from this networking event. It was kind of just like 3 to 4 months of heavy networking, and then the referrals started coming just from all these places. And we were networking, and then we thought we were working on the business. So we thought we had good systems, we thought we had good processes. And then what's the best way to test that is with real business and trying to onboard real clients. And we quickly realized, okay, our systems and our processes are not what we need to be able to support the growth that we have now and that we want in the future. And so we've pretty much pulled back a little bit from the networking, and we've been like, okay, how can we make our client service the best we can make it? And for us, that starts with standard operating procedures. So documenting everything we do for clients, and then layering on top of that, like, okay, is there a way to standardize some of these workflows across clients on a monthly basis? How can we standardize that? Are there any automations or efficiencies we could implement into these workflows for these clients? And, that's something that Sammy and I, like, as a partnership, we really enjoy working, because we're working on the business together. So, we put our heads together, and we're like, how can we be better and actually implement this? Not just talk about it in this meeting, but, have concrete takeaways and make these workflows better. So next month, we're not, freaking out, or it's not all this time, we can make it more efficient. And so that's kind of the last couple months, and probably I foresee the next month or so, really just trying to work on those workflows.
Very cool. Sammy, what about yourself? What's your take on all of that?
Yeah, I would agree with what Fred said. A few weeks, maybe it's been a month, we hired our first employee, just with the volume of clients coming in. And I think that's a big eye opener for us. Is, okay, these processes, like Fred was saying, are not where they need to be, even though we might have thought they were. And that's not to say that they're horrible processes or anything, but they just need some enhancements. And like he said, I think that's our favorite thing to do, is work on the business, right? We had issues with onboarding at the start of the year, sat down on a Saturday, mapped out onboarding, like, found what the pain points were, and we fixed it. And then when the next wave of clients came about a month ago, onboarding was extremely smooth. But then we found in that wave little things that could be improved as well. And so there's always something rolling onto the docket of, like, okay, here's an issue with our process. Now we need to set aside time to, like, work together to map out how to fix that and how to implement it. So yeah, I think it's getting our processes to a point where kind of our employee is fully onboarded and is comfortable with our current client base. And then that way we have the foundation to continue to take on clients at the rate that we want to take them on, which is, like, we would like to grow fast. I'm sure that everyone wants to grow fast, right? So we want to grow fast, and in order to do that, the foundation has to be there. So yeah, echoing what Fred said, just making that foundation as strong as possible.
Very cool. And I love that, the stop, and now analyze, improve, and working on the business is that's part of the gold of getting a business that runs itself. And also the idea that you're gonna put together a bunch of things that you think will work well. It's not really tested until you take people through it, or you have a staff member come on and it's like, wow, there's gaps here. Now you became or you discovered Pure Bookkeeping and later joined the Freedom Gateway. Tell us a little bit about how that ended up being. Why did you do that? And how did you find it? And how have you implemented it?
Yeah, from the beginning, like I said, just listening to those podcasts. I don't know how I found the podcast to begin with, but luckily I found it and heard other guests come on and mention it. And obviously, it's going to be talked about on every episode, right? So was definitely interested in it, and I knew that we needed some sort of system in place. Just with the small amount of clients we had, everything was living in my head. We had like 5 clients, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna miss something here eventually. So it was a pretty smooth process. Reached out to, I guess it was Ron contacted me, and he's just fantastic at his job. Shuttled us over to Lisa and the Freedom Gateway. And I think that was big for us, just having an hour with Lisa Campbell a week, someone who's done it, who's built a very successful firm. And a lot of times Fred and I were the only ones that would show up to it. So we just had an hour with someone who's built a very successful firm already. And she was great. And just helping us learn and develop and how to work on the business. So it was a pretty smooth process to implement it. And then it's nice too, because we can make, little changes to it and customize things, because not every bookkeeping business is going to be the same. So we like that part about it as well. So our Pure and our Pixie definitely does not look like another bookkeeping firms, but that's the good thing about it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, and that's great, and what a benefit. And I think that's part of any success. There's going to be people who do the work and show up. There's going to be the people who force themselves to get out of bed and go to the networking meeting. There's going to be people who just follow through, right? Follow through. And so you're doing that in a great demonstration of it, which is great. And so thanks for sharing that. In the time that you have been doing this, have you hit walls or any other barriers while growing the bookkeeping business that you didn't think you'd hit? Or, the porta potty business was one experience. How has this experience been different, and what do you see for the future?
I mean, we've hit every wall so far that you can hit. I feel like it's all about hitting walls and learning from that experience. And then just being like, okay, we don't want to hit this wall again. So like, how can we adjust? Personally, my biggest thing was just not coming from the accounting space, and it wasn't what I studied in school. So from the very start, when we were doing the QuickBooks certifications, there was a learning curve for me, and just trying to grasp, like, okay, I studied some of this at school, but it wasn't my main focus. So like, I need to kind of readjust my mindset on like, this is what, what I'm doing and what I need to be an expert at. But then even that aside, I mean, it was the marketing. Like, how do we get clients? Are we online marketing? Is it networking? It's been the systems. It's there's been a lot of walls.
Wow. It's pretty cool. I love that you've made so many mistakes in such short period of time. That's the good stuff. It's like you learn so quickly and pivot. The social media advertisements, and it's a good lesson for others. And fortunately, only did it for a little bit of time. But I've heard people, and I've had over the years spoken to people who've spent tens of thousands of dollars on these crazy adventures to try and get clients, when all you need to just do is walk out your door a lot of the times. Like, we live in a as a small business owner serving small business owners, where are the small businesses? They're over there in the community there. You just walk out the door and there's like every single door is someone in need, right? And so it's kind of that move of ads is a move you play when you really got to throttle it up and do it right and get, it's a whole system and process in itself. And so you pivoted quick and you moved on and you learned from it. Just absolutely love that. So what's in your minds, what's the big business or what's the big future vision that you have for your business? Have you thought about that? Where are you taking it?
Yeah, we've definitely thought about it a lot, and the thing, it's constantly changing, right? Like just because we're so new to it. I mean, last month we sat down and we're currently reading Traction, the EOS book, and we're implementing all the steps. And 2 weeks ago I called Fred. I'm like, this isn't like working right now. Like we've got to change something. So things are constantly evolving. I mean, we both want to be just a big firm serving as many people as possible and providing value. So I don't necessarily want to throw out a number on that, but I think we're both pretty aligned on where we want to be, and yeah, it's providing a ton of value to all the small business owners out there.
That's amazing.
I'll, if you don't mind, I'll just adding on that. I think we've both kind of, like Sammy said, it's changing all the time. And we've kind of started to realize like the journey is something that's really important to us. It's really like, we left our jobs and, now I'm working with one of my best friends every day and we get to go to a cool office and have all these new experiences. And so I think something that, yeah, like we want to grow and do all these things, but ultimately like the day to day, like we want the day to day to be enjoyable and we like challenging ourselves and we're curious people and we like learning. And I think as long as we're feeling that on a day to day basis, I think that'll take us to ultimately where we want to go, even if we may not know exactly what that looks like right now, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. And I think there's a couple things to that I'll mention. And number one, I love that you didn't tell me the number. 3 Simple Steps, great book. I have had the Trevor, I think is it Trevor Smith? Oh dear. It's 3 Simple Steps. He's on the podcast episode at one point. He wrote the book. I love the book. And really one of those key things he says, and one of the steps is don't share your vision with other people. Like there's not much value energetically that can come from saying, oh, I'm going to build $1 billion business. And they'll be like, no, you're not. Right. And so it's like holding that vision for the future dear and near to you. And you're sharing other things, of course, but it's in what's in your mind is for you. And that's the energy that you're taking, and no one can stop you from trying to achieve that. And that, I love that. And then the other piece is my mentor, Rick Thorpe, always said, do what you love, do something you love every day of your life, and you'll never work a day in your life. And that's what you 2 gentlemen are doing, which is you're loving what you're doing. Only good things are going to come from that. And you've figured out a way to do something you love and be service to the community and make money from it. So I just love this. Fantastic stuff. Well, this has been a fun conversation. As I said, it was going to be, and I was right. Is like, if people wanted to get to know you more or learn more about you, let's get that. But then also you've got your own podcast. I'd love to hear a little bit about that and how that came to be, and share a little bit about that.
Yeah, for how to reach us, we've got our website is mattingly.com, and we're also on all social media platforms. So if you search Mattingly Financial Accounting, you'll find our page, and then you'll probably see hundreds of videos of Sammy and I. We do business tips, accounting tips, interviews with clients, testimonials, all sorts of things. So I would direct any listeners there if they want to get to know us a little bit more. And then on the podcast piece, Sammy, it was actually a goal that we had, wasn't it, for a while to start a podcast?
Yeah, but I think it was one of our first kind of revenue goals, hit a certain revenue point and then start a podcast.
Yeah. And so with the podcast, Sammy and I were kind of in this phase where, I don't know, Michael, if you're familiar with Brad Jacobs, the entrepreneur Brad
Sammy
Jacobs.
mentioned him. I am not, but I think I must go and learn about him based on what you've told so far.
I'd recommend it.
He's great, and his claim is that he started 8 $1 billion companies. So if you've seen XPO trucks driving around, that's his logistics company. But he wrote a book called How to Make a Few $1 Billion. And I read the book, and Sammy and I were talking about it, and he's on another podcast, a founder's podcast. And so we're throwing around names for our podcast, and Sammy says, what about how to make a few $1,000s? And I mean, I just thought it was a hilarious name. It was a great name. And so I was like, I love it. Let's roll with it. And on the podcast art, I made it identical to the book's art for, the How to Make a Few $1 Billion book. And we launched our first episode and put it on social media. And I think I might have tagged Brad Jacobs and some other people. And sure enough, like an hour later, he commented on it. And all these folks from XPO and all of his companies were commenting on our podcast launch. And he said, I love it, but you got to think bigger than that. And that was just a really fun day that we had, with an entrepreneur that we both look up to. And we've just been rolling with it ever since. We do a couple episodes a month, and we ask people what they're building. Are they successful, or how they define success? And then do they consider themselves successful? And then we ask for some advice on how to make a few $1,000s at the end. So that's been a fun experience working on that.
It's great. And I would just say that I think he's right. You got to think bigger, but that could be your tagline: how to make a few $1,000s and think bigger. And then get bigger, right? Because that's, I love it. And he's got to be on your podcast. Go get him as being a guest.
1,000%. It's definitely on the radar.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So we'll get those, we'll go get all those in the show notes. And I think it's fun. I think you guys are doing some cool stuff. And it's going to blow up on you guys. You're going to just crush it. Really. It's just, you're building some really awesome foundation. And I know our listeners are going to be wanting to follow and do some of the things that you're doing. And there's a platform out here for everyone. There's more customers that need the work that you two are doing, what our listeners are doing. And they need to find you. They can't find you if you're at home, just toiling away, or home, the office, toiling away on doing the work. You got to be out there, and you two are getting out there in ways that work for you, and it's cool.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah, great. Well, this has been an absolute treat for me. I hope it was for the listener. I hope it was for both of you, and I want to thank you for the generosity of coming on the show and sharing the things you've learned and the journey you've been on, and I'm certain you'll be back to give us an update at some point.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I've just had a great hour or so getting to know you and answering your questions. So thank you.
Yeah,
yep.
The pleasure is all of ours, and so thank you. What a great discussion with Sammy and Fred. Across this 2-part series, 2 things are clear. Success doesn't come from having all the answers. It comes from taking action, learning fast, and surrounding yourself with the right people. Thanks again, Sammy and Fred, for the insight. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. For resources and links, visit thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.